Hello everyone, I'm Virginia. Welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Today I've got some info and advice for you guys about getting started in the film industry. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit longer than some of my other videos. So sit down, grab a drink, grab a snack, whatever, and here we go. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So I think getting started in film actually requires a few steps. So one of the big things is, are you interested in film? I think it's a very important step to actually be interested in film and entertainment. Is it your hobby? Do you like making movies with your friends on the weekend, or do you act in plays? Those are all big roles that will push you forward, because the film industry in general is a lot of hard work, and an interest is mostly what drives people to continue working in it, even when, the going gets tough. So if you do find yourself having an interest in film, then you might want to ask yourself a few questions. First, do you actually want to do it professionally, or do you just want to do it as a hobby? There are a lot of people who make movies as a hobby or act in films as a hobby, but it doesn't sustain them and it's not like a part of their lifestyle. So I think you should ask yourself, do you actually want this to be your job? Another question would be, do you want to work long hours? The average day on a film set can be about 10 to 12. The average day on a film set can be about 10 to 12 hours, and sometimes, if you're working in overtime or something, they can run 17 or 18 hours long. Another question you should ask yourself is, do you want to have a stable life? Do you like routine? Do you like doing the same thing every day and knowing what's coming? Because film is a pretty irregular industry. If you're working on movie sets or films or something like that, then you're going to have a pretty irregular schedule and you won't really be able to set a routine for yourself. You might be able to find a little bit of regularity if you get into television and find a show that might run a little bit longer. That's pretty much as stable as it gets. Film isn't just irregular in terms of routine, it's also irregular in terms of income. So that's something that you need to make a decision about for yourself before you get started. So I would say the final question you should ask yourself is, do you like hard work? Film is actually a pretty difficult industry to work in, not just because of irregularity, but also because of the long hours, and sometimes there's extensive heavy lifting involved and all kinds of different things that you have to work with. You work with new people every time, and that can be challenging for some. So that's a final question that you should probably ask yourself. So if you answered yes to all of those questions, then give yourself a pat on the back, because that can be pretty difficult sometimes. And now we'll continue. The second step you should take once you've decided you want to work in film is deciding what you actually want to do. So do you want to work in front of or behind the camera? Do you want to be a crew member or some other type of administration? Or do you want to work in front of the camera? If your answer was behind the camera, then you have to ask yourself another question. What do you want to do? There are a lot of jobs that happen behind the camera. So what I would recommend is learn about all the different jobs, and then you can decide what thing interests you the most. Some people do all the work before the film actually happens. So if you're interested in working in pre-production, you might want to look at jobs like casting or location scouting, or maybe even writing. There are also certain positions that are involved all the way through, like a director or a producer. Another component of filmmaking is post-production. Some people work as editors or visual effects specialists or even sound designers. So other than doing internet research, another way to get some hands-on experience and learn about different jobs on set would be to be a production assistant. Okay, so let's say you don't want to work behind the camera and you're more interested in acting. If you're interested in acting, then you might want to try performing in plays, local theater, and or independent films and independent short films. So for people interested in becoming actors, I would recommend that you learn a little bit about acting and what it is. Learn how people do it and learn I would recommend that you learn a little bit about what acting is and how actors actually perform in front of an audience. So I just want to make a side note. Theater is technically a different industry than film, but I think that theater is a good way for people to get started and get used to actually being or living through a character. I also think that theater is a good way for people to get over stage fright and having to perform in front of a lot of people, because it doesn't really matter whether you're on a stage or on a film set, you're going to be performing in front of an audience. Another upside to theater is that you can work on a character for longer because you have a longer rehearsal period. Eventually, when you move into film, you will need to speed up this process on your own, but theater is definitely a good way to get started. In film, you don't get to spend a full hour immersed in the story the way you do in theater. So if you're finding this video helpful, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions that you'd like answered in another video, then go ahead and leave a comment down at the bottom. So finally, once you've started working in film, you can start working your way up to bigger and more professional projects. At first, they'll probably still be independent. You can go for commercials, you can build your reel, you can start making your own content. Basically, just look for things that push you to be better. Also, as you're working on different projects, you'll start to meet more people and learn more and more each time. The key with film is pretty much to always keep learning. So that's a wrap. If you want more content like this, then go ahead and hit the
subscribe button.
Then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I post videos weekly and I have bonus videos. Also, if you guys want to know more about getting started in the film industry, I have some other videos linked in the description. Go ahead and check them out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.